to report. Will the clerk please read our 6 o'clock item, please?
Workshop on the comprehensive update of the Tuolumne County General Plan and Regional Transportation Plan and consideration of providing direction to staff regarding the General Plan update.
All right. During the presentation, I'm going to ask staff if you would like questions during the presentation, or do you want to wait till after?
If the board has questions during the presentation, feel free to ask it. We will have time at the end for the public to provide any type of input on the proposed changes or any questions regarding the general plan update. Okay,
so public, pay attention as we go and come up with some good questions. So see if we can stump Adam here at the end. All right, staff presentation, please.
Okay. Adam Paskowski, Senior Planner for the Community Resources Agency. So the purpose of this workshop is to explain what the general plan is and what the proposed changes to the general plan are, and to gather your input as the board and also the public on what should be studied in the EIR. First, I'll explain what the purpose and the requirements of the general plan, and then we'll explain the proposed text changes in the plan. Then I'll talk about the land use and the proposed amendments to the general plan designations, which are the maps of the communities throughout the county. And afterwards, I'll transition into transportation and circulation and transfer over the presentation to Darren from the Tuolumne County Transportation Council. So, in California, the general plan has been required since 1937 to guide future growth of the county. It is required to be updated, or it's recommended to be updated every 20 years. And the last time we completed a general plan update was in 1996. So, although the general plan is required by the state, it is up to the county to develop the plan as it sees fit. So I'm going to go quickly through these original slides, and then once we get to the map, and provide more detail on the proposed changes from the land use diagrams. So the purpose of the general plan is to analyze conditions, define goals, and develop policies and programs to achieve the goals of the general plan. The plan is written with input from the public, such as meetings from today, and any letters and emails that are received during the scope and period of the EIR. It provides goals for both development and environmental protection, and is utilized for the next 25 years to make day-to-day decisions regarding the growth of the county and the direction that the county should achieve. Therefore, the general plan is the constitution for growth for the county, and the ordinance codes and development projects within the county must be consistent with the plan. As I mentioned, the last general plan was updated in 1996, and in late 2013, your board directed staff to prepare an update to the general plan and designate the planning committee to assist in the draft changes to the general plan. In addition, the regional transportation plan, which is overseen by the Transportation Council, is required to be updated every 5 years, and the Transportation Council is undergoing an update of the RTP now. So both the regional transportation plan and the general plan need to be consistent with each other. Therefore, in order to save money and costs, the county has teamed up with the Transportation Council to coordinate the preparation of 2 separate program EIRs, one evaluating the general plan and the other evaluating the RTP with the same consultant. And through this process, we've hired Rincon Consultants to complete that EIR, or both EIRs. Since the same information will be required in both documents, so this would help save time and money in the long run. In addition, for the past several years, we had a countywide project that was referred to as the Blueprint. Through that process, it was decided on how the county will grow for the next 20 to 30 years. And that scenario that was selected was called the Distinctive Community Scenario. What that means is to keep the communities distinct and separate from each other by having open areas, such as agricultural property or larger parcels, in between the communities so that they do not merge together. And these are the key issues that will be analyzed in the EIR. And this is the proposed timeline that we see in completing the general plan update. State law requires that 7 elements must be addressed in the general plan. On the following slides, I'll explain the proposed changes to each element of the general plan, and I will skip the land use and circulation sections, but we'll come back to them towards the end of my presentation. So first, the housing element is the only section of the general plan that is required to be updated more often than 20 years. The county had the housing element certified with the state this past August, and therefore we're not proposing to make any changes. The conservation element is required to address natural resources such as water, forest, soil, wildlife, and minerals. The open space element is required to identify the preservation or management of natural resources, which is similar to the conservation element. Therefore, due to the similarities in both the required conservation and open space elements, they are combined into one element that we are proposing to rename as the natural resources element. As for proposed changes to this revised element, the water resources section is proposed to be deleted and will be inserted into a new proposed water element. Other changes in this element are minor, except for the biological resources section. Your board established the Biological Resources Ad Hoc Committee to draft a new biological resources section. Through this process, it is proposed that the 1987 Tuolumne County Wildlife Handbook, which was used to develop mitigation measures for development projects, be removed, and clarified that the general plan shall be in compliance with state and federal law. In addition, this revised biological resources section proposed standards for removal of oak woodlands. As identified on the slide, currently the county utilizes a threshold developed with the California Department of Fish and Wildlife. That is, that if 10% or more of the oaks on a project site are affected, then oak woodland mitigation is required. The new proposal will basically exempt urban areas and parcels less than 2 acres in size. The recommendations have been included in the general plan update and will be evaluated in the EIR. The noise element is required to quantify noise levels and identify any noise issues. This element has not been updated since 1996. However, even though only minor text changes are being proposed at this time, the EIR will also analyze noise throughout the county. The safety element is required to analyze geologic hazards, flooding, and fire hazards. The safety element was recently updated in June of 2014 and was reviewed by the State Board of Forestry and Fire Protection. Therefore, the proposed changes to this element are very minor, which include sentence restructuring, name changes, and updated statistics. State law also allows the county to adopt optional elements to be included in the general plan that the county feels are important to the community. The current general plan includes 7 optional elements and 5 community plans, in addition to the 7 required elements. The proposed general plan update includes 2 additional optional elements. As I mentioned, the new water element and also a healthy communities element. So the first optional element that I'm going to go over is the public facilities and service element, which its purpose is to address the public facilities and services necessary to support the current and future residents and visitors of the county. The focus is on those services provided by the County of Tuolumne and other local agencies, and how the needs for those services relate to future growth. Proposed changes to this element include encouraging school districts to adopt safe routes to schools, provide traffic safety education, equip school buses with bicycle racks, and expanding electronic services offered at libraries. In addition, the public water supplies and sewer system sections are proposed to remove from this element and are proposed to be placed in the new water element. The recreation element addresses the recreation needs of Tuolumne County's residents and visitors. That plan was incorporated into the general plan as an optional element, and it addressed the need for and also the location of new parks and recreational facilities. An important aspect of this element was the identification of sources for funding for acquisition, development, and maintenance of new parks and recreational facilities. We are making minor changes proposed to this element. However, a couple new programs that we are adding are to preserve open areas for recreation, provide recreation in proximity to neighborhoods, encourage bicycle use, and encourage recreational facilities such as bicycle racks for new commercial and industrial development. The cultural resources management element addresses the importance of the county's history and establishes thresholds for requiring cultural resource studies for new projects. This element was last updated in 2009. Therefore, there are only minor changes proposed at this time, which primarily consist of editing policies and programs that have already been completed. The economic development element was created to promote a positive image of the county and a positive attitude and support towards economic development among other local organizations and agencies outside of Tuolumne County. The economic development element was last updated in 2011, and therefore there are only several minor changes proposed in the update to encourage economic growth within the county and improve telecommunications infrastructure. Major changes to the agricultural resources element include revisions to the evaluation of the conversion of agricultural land, the agricultural rating system, and a new section that promotes agritourism. These proposed changes have been in discussion with the State Department of Conservation, and as part of the EIR, revisions to Resolution 10406, which is the Williamson Act, as well as revisions to the Ordinance Code to promote agritourism will be reviewed concurrently with the general plan update in the EIR. The purpose of the air quality element is to improve air quality in the county. This element has not been updated since 1996. In order to reduce air pollution emissions and greenhouse gas emissions consistent with Assembly Bill 32, which calls for a statewide reduction in greenhouse gas emissions to 1990 levels by 2020, it is proposed to incorporate the policies identified in the already completed countywide greenhouse gas study into the air quality element. The community identity element provides the framework for preserving the uniqueness and character of each community within the county. It is designed to establish a blueprint for creating more livable environments while preserving and enhancing the character and identity of each community. It is proposed to add a few policies to the community identity element to continue to preserve the county's rural heritage and scenic quality by promoting growth within and adjacent to existing communities. Due to recent interest in water rights and water supplies and the reactivation of the Tuolumne County Water Agency, your board directed staff to prepare a water element as an optional element to the general plan that includes goals, policies, and programs to protect, enhance, and expand water resources throughout the county. As previously mentioned, the water resources section from the conservation and open space element, which is now being referred to the natural resources element, and the public water supply section and sewer system sections from the public facilities and services element are proposed to be moved into the new water element. In addition, the proposed water resources element includes a water supply section and a water conservation section. The Tuolumne Utility District, as well as the Lake Don Pedro CSD and MID, the Medicinal Irrigation District, has reviewed the proposed water element and has provided input which was incorporated into this element. Staff will also recommend adding several additional policies to this element through the EIR process and also perhaps the safety element regarding droughts in general to address local issues so that we can apply for grants and funding in the future if need to. The board directed staff to establish a new healthy communities element to the general plan as well as advocated by the Tuolumne County Health Department and Dr. Stolt. And the three key reasons to do this was to protect residents from secondhand smoke exposure in multi-unit housing, promote access to healthy foods and nutrition, and promote physical activities such as safe routes to schools, walkable communities, and created and then expanded on our recreational trails. As I mentioned before, the Tuolumne County General Plan has 5 community plans whose purpose is to address unique characteristics of those specific communities. These are the 5 community plans that we currently have. There are no substantial changes in the community's plans, and most of these have recently been updated. Columbia was updated in 2009, and Jamestown was updated in 2011, and the Tuolumne Community Plan was adopted in 2007. Now, going back to the mandatory elements, the land use element functions as a guide to the ultimate pattern of development for the county at build-out. And to provide a little background on the 1996 general plan, that plan was evaluated with a population projection that was performed by the State Department of Finance of approximately 97,000 residents by the year 2020. The new proposed land use element was prepared or drafted, reducing the population projection to about 63,000 by the year 2040. and that number was based off of Department of Finance projections as well as information used for the blueprint. And the current population of the county is about 54,300. Proposed changes to this element primarily includes changes to the text to implement the distinctive communities growth scenario from the blueprint, such as concentrating development within and adjacent to existing communities. In addition, the land use element is required to include land use diagrams of the county. Within several communities throughout the county, such as Columbia and Jamestown, more intense general plan designations is proposed to be consistent with the distinctive communities growth scenario. For other areas of the county, your board directed staff to amend the general plan designation throughout the county to match or be consistent with the existing zoning district. Through this process, approximately 4,300 parcels, which is about 10% of the parcels throughout the county, are proposed to have their general plan designation amended. And the county has notified all the property owners that we're having their general plans amended. In response to the letters that we sent out, the county received over 200 phone calls, 50 emails, and approximately 20 letters from the public regarding these changes. A few of the letters that we received were opposed to the proposed changes to their property as well as their surrounding neighbors. Now I'd like to briefly go over several areas of the county that will have the concentrated proposed changes. First, I will start in Jamestown. So over here is State Highway 108. You have Main Street going through the middle of Jamestown, and you have Rawhide Road coming up here, just to orient everyone. And through the Blueprint project, the high-density residential and medium-density residential that are located on either side of Jamestown was proposed and is part of this general plan update. And I'm going to zoom into downtown Jamestown. Through the Board of Supervisors Planning Committee, they recommended several or a couple blocks of downtown Jamestown to be proposed to go from general commercial to mixed use. The current zoning for these parcels are general commercial. It's the C1 zoning district. And to help show you what's nearby with the general plan designations, I'll just show you. This is the existing general plan showing the commercial, and then overlay on top of that would be the mixed use. And as you can see, we already have mixed use up here and a little bit of existing mixed use here. That this is the project that hasn't been developed yet with the retail stores and the apartments on the second floor. So through this process, we received a number of phone calls regarding the proposed changes to mixed use throughout the various downtowns of the county. And the one major complaint was that currently motels and hotels are not a permitted use in the mixed use zoning district. So one of the directions that staff is asking for is if we should proceed with these types of changes in the downtown areas, and I'll go through the other communities to show where the mixed use general plan designations will be located. So if we should proceed with that, another option would be to evaluate the mixed use zoning district and possibly add motels and hotels or also other uses. That might be an alternative, or not to proceed with this type of changes in the downtown areas.
Supervisor Royce?
I think I understand why you're proposing the change from general commercial and mixed use, and talks with the distinctive communities. Basically, can you summarize why you're doing that? And also highlight the other differences in the zoning ordinance, I guess is what I'm trying to get to.
Okay. So in the majority of the areas, it was direction from the Board of Supervisors Planning Committee to add the mixed use more throughout the county. And the idea was that you would have, you could still have the commercial uses and then have the apartments above to help.
So a business owner could live there, live
right,
up
business
above,
owner, right,
or rent it out, have another additional
right.
income. With commercial, general commercial right now, you can't do that? You can have residential, but not residential and commercial?
Underneath the commercial district, you're allowed one residence per parcel. Underneath the mixed-use zoning district, you can have up to 15 units per acre.
Okay.
So greater density.
So there's more flexibility for the residential aspect of it, but in some cases there's less commercial.
Correct.
What other commercial aspects would there be less potential for as a mixed use versus the general commercial? You said hotels. What?
Right. Underneath the mixed use, the permitted use is retail sales, which is the same as commercial, but it's limited up to 15,000 square feet of commercial. But they can also, underneath the mixed use zoning district, apply for a conditional use permit in order to increase above 15,000 square feet. So it's an extra.
Which you're probably going to have to go through a site permit or something anyways.
Correct.
So you're going to go through CEQA and it's going to be conditional.
So,
Okay. So for
go ahead.
So for retail, there's square footage limitations that would be additionally imposed. What about, I guess, office space? I'd have to look at
Right.
the permitted uses of general plan or general commercial to know everything. But
Yeah,
can you just highlight it real quick for me?
Basically, well, like you mentioned, professional offices, that's a permitted use in both districts.
Yeah.
Really, the key difference is the hotel motel, and then also the amount of dwelling units you can have per acre or per parcel.
Okay.
That's really the only major difference between the two districts.
Okay. Okay.
Any other questions? One of the suggestions you mentioned was to add motel to the
Zoning ordinance.
to the ordinance as an
Right.
allowable use.
Correct. Because we did receive one letter, but that was only in Columbia. We've received phone calls from other property owners who suggested that, but we did not receive any letters requesting a change or anything like that.
Okay. All right, you can go ahead. Thank you.
Okay. So the other changes that you see on here are per your board's direction to not downzone properties. So the general plan was amended to be consistent or match the existing zoning that's there. But one of the areas that I want to zoom into, so this is the upper end of Rawhide Road, Peppermint Circle coming off, and here's O'Neill Court. We received 4 letters from property owners within this area that had a concern from the proposed change. The current general plan for this area is rural residential, so I'll just turn off the proposal. So you can see these 12 parcels are currently rural residential, and we're proposing to change it to estate residential. And the purpose of that change was that their current zoning for all these parcels are RE2, so the residential estate 2-acre minimum. So if this change were to go in effect, basically the difference is that there's 2 properties. This property and this property are large enough to split. All the other properties are less than 3 acres. Most of them are about 2 acres in size or less. So basically, if this change was to be done, there's only 2 properties that will be able to split, and we are just asking your direction if we should proceed with this type of change, since we received 4 letters from 4 separate owners in this area.
Requesting that you don't change it.
Correct.
What was the reason cited?
The reasons were they didn't want the properties they didn't want further divisions of the properties. It's possible that someone can own multiple properties in the future, and then they can do lot line adjustments or a parcel map, and then they can turn 2 parcels into 3. So that's also a possibility.
Adam, so what about the owners? What do they want?
So the 4 owners that we heard from, they want to keep the rural residential general plan and have their zoning change from RE2 to RE5. So they want to have a down zone.
But they would be non-conforming.
The owners
then.
do.
Correct. The 4 letters that we received.
Okay,
As-
but in keeping with distinctive communities where we want to do infills, I think that's the kind of thing, and put it's hardly higher density to split those 2 lots, but allow for that so that you have, if you will, concentrations of people as opposed to sprawl. I'm kind of leaning toward what property owners want, but it seems to me like that they do what they want. It doesn't make any difference. They own the property.
Correct.
Okay.
The 2
Just understand
lots.
the options.
Sorry. So the 2 lots that the 4 letters were concerned about are big enough to where they would be 2 acres, right? So you could split them.
So
They're
these,
4 plus.
Yeah, they're about 5 acres in size.
And if they were split, then they would still be consistent with the rest of the neighborhood.
Yes, if the general plan is changed to the state residential and the existing RE2 zoning remains, then
It's already RE2.
right.
Okay.
Any other questions? So you're looking for some guidance on those particular
Correct.
properties. Supervisor Rutherford, that's in your district, I believe, isn't it?
Well, I don't want to, I don't think we're in a position to provide guidance right now.
I'm just
Yes, it is in my district, to answer your question.
just giving you something to think about, that's all.
My brain's working.
All right. Okay, you can go on.
Okay. So I just quickly want to go over to the stent area. The proposed changes that you see here are per the board's direction that no down zones occur in the future. So this is the proposed changes in that area. And just to give you a quick look. And it's basically just reflecting the existing zone and maintaining that zoning district that's there.
And have you received any comment on,
We've received phone calls, and everyone understands what's going on, so there's
Okay.
no
no controversy?
right.
Okay.
So in Columbia, here's the airport. The state park is located over here. You have Parrots Ferry Road coming up, and State Highway 49 coming across and going towards the city of Sonora. In this area, the blueprint project proposed large lot residential, which are 10-acre lots in this area, and rural residential to the east of that parcel. It's that right now. That's one parcel that's currently has a general plan of agricultural and a zoning of AE 37. So, I'm going to zoom in a little bit. The blueprint also proposed to change this area to mixed use. And it has a mixture of existing general plans through here, high, medium, low density residential, and also some commercial. So, and then over here, this is Sawmill Flat Road. I'll zoom in a little bit more over here. And this was proposed changes made by staff, and that was just to reflect the smaller size properties that are over here. These properties are currently have a general plan of homestead residential, which is 3-acre lots, and we are just proposing to change those to low-density residential to pretty much reflect what is there. And the zoning for all these properties are RE3, so that's consistent with the homestead residential, so they would be receiving an upzoning. We receive calls from people in this area, but we haven't received any complaints regarding the change. And then I want to go back to the airport. So we're proposing to change the airport to public. Currently, the general plan is business park, and that was done through the last general plan update in '96, which there was an economic study identifying potential in that airport area, but we're changing the general plan to public, and if we need to, we can also proceed with that type of plan in the future, even though we changed the general plan designation since it's owned by the county. So going to the outer limits of Sonora. We have Washington Street and 49 coming through here. You have 108 coming along here, and Mona Way is coming through this area. You have Kalamazoo, Greenlee coming up here, and then Lions Bald Mountain coming through here, just to orient everyone. So, and then one thing that I want to note to the public, here you can see in the white is the city of Sonora, and the county, we do not oversee the city. They're the only incorporated city in the county, and they have their own separate general plan, which the county is not and cannot propose to amend the city's general plan. And so going back to the proposed general plan, we have a couple areas that the blueprint propose high-density residential and medium-density residential over here, as well as high-density in this area. And I just want to zoom into this area west of Sonora. So you can see the proposed mixed use, or I'm sorry, not mixed use, but the proposed high-density and medium-density residential. And then these other changes you see to the north, those are all to match the existing zoning, so those properties are not downzoned. And we did receive one letter from a property owner located over here who was against the proposed changes. They requested that we don't make these changes to the general plan, and basically that they have a down zone. So staff was kind of looking, again, just like in Columbia, or I'm sorry, in Jamestown, exactly what you want to do if just to proceed, because the existing zoning will remain, and just have the general plan change to match the zoning that's there. And then going back to
Sorry, Adam, back to that. What exactly was the reason they didn't want it?
They just didn't want the change. They wanted a down zone. They did not want the general plan to change in that area.
This was not the owner.
This was just one single owner out of all those parcels.
Okay.
So
And the reasoning behind it, they give you a specific reason?
There are a couple properties that, although all their properties are zone RE1, technically they will be able to come in for a zone change to R1 and have smaller parcels, so they could be subdivisions or smaller parcel maps in these areas that could eventually come through the county, and they just didn't want to.
They didn't want increased density.
Correct.
Okay.
So it seems like there's two things happening. One, we're trying to make the general plan consistent with the existing zonings,
Correct.
where currently the zonings are allowing for more density than what the general plan allows for. Right?
Correct.
And making the areas around it typically consistent based on access and different factors, right?
Right.
The other thing I guess I'd say we're trying to do is strategically, based on your preferred growth scenario, trying to make the general plan consistent with that, right? So the general commercial to mixed use and strategies like that, that's based on that guideline and that vision.
Right. Basically, the high and medium density residential, that's proposals done by the blueprint through the distinctive community scenario.
Gotcha.
So, and then
So more specifically, in regards to cases like this where we're hearing opposition from a property owner that they don't want to see more density, the zoning in a lot of these cases is already allowing for that density.
correct.
So it's just making the general plan consistent with it so that the map correlates.
Yes.
Okay.
Carl?
So the alternative, just to be clear, the alternative, if we wanted to make the two match, would be to rezone them and make the zoning more restrictive than it is right now.
Correct. It would be a down zone.
Okay, thank you.
Some cases, then their zoning, well, their property sizes would be non-conforming uses because they'd be smaller than what the zoning would actually allow for.
Correct.
Okay.
Okay, moving on.
So moving on, the blueprint recommended these changes over here up until Bald Mountain Road. And it had the high density residential here extended to Homestead and estate residential going uphill towards Kalamazoo. And then it proposed the low density residential up to the road right here. We did receive a letter recently regarding this property owner where currently this high density residential is currently mixed use, and they just want to maintain the existing mixed use general plan there. This change was proposed by the Blueprint project for the distinctive communities, and staff does not see a reason to change it to high density residential per the owner's request to keep it mixed use. Both the high density residential and the mixed use, the maximum or the number of acres, or I'm sorry, number of dwelling units per acre is 15. So it'll be pretty much the same, just the
So the staff is supporting the owner's request.
yes.
That would still allow them some commercial uses potentially as well.
Correct.
So that's probably a better zoning, I would say, yeah.
We also received a letter from this property owner. The proposal here is to change the general plan from rural residential to estate residential. So this property owner also owns this property, and they just wish to add this property to the general plan to change the rural residential on that piece to also go to estate residential. This way, both properties would be consistent with each other. And the reason for that was in case in the future he needs to do a lot line adjustment or something like that. So staff supports that. We don't see a reason to not include it. And the other letter that we received in this area was regarding this agricultural property. Currently, it's zone AE 37 and has a general plan of agricultural. I'll turn on the existing general plan just to show you the difference. So this is the existing, and then the proposed general plan overlying that. So, and this is the Red Tail Ridge subdivision that was approved not too long ago. So this property owner requested to maintain their existing agricultural general plan. The reason why they want to do that is because in the future they see utilizing the property for more agricultural and expand on their agricultural uses, and they just want to keep their options open agricultural-wise. So staff is asking for your direction regarding this because it will be in the middle. You have a piece of agricultural land in the middle of some low-density residential and some rural residential. Then further, I'll turn back on the existing. You have low-density residential and high-density residential that currently exists.
They're currently zoned AE 37.
They're currently zoned AE 37. And
Are they under Williamson Act?
No, they're currently not.
Okay.
How large is that parcel?
It's 40 acres.
So it is compliant with AE 37.
Correct. So even with the proposed estate residential, the AE 37 zone district will still be considered consistent with the general plan. So the main question is if we should just change the general plan to estate residential or not from agricultural.
Let me make sure I understood that. Whether we change the general plan or not, AE 37 zoning would still fit.
Correct. The AE 37 zone will remain. We won't automatically change it to RE2 zoning.
The net effect to the property owner in terms of permitted uses and conditional uses would be a wash, right?
Correct.
Okay.
Go ahead.
So I just want to scroll over. So as I mentioned, the blueprint project pretty much ended along this road. And then per your board's direction in late 2013, it was to extend the low-density residential general plan to the west towards Highway 49 and to add some mixed use along closer to the highway. So I just want to zoom in over here. So here's the highway, and Columbia Way connects to the highway up here. We did receive a letter from this property owner. The proposal is to change the property from estate residential. It actually has a split general plan. It has estate residential and neighborhood commercial, but the zoning on the property is R1. And so the property was proposed to go to low-density residential, and they prefer to keep their general plan as estate residential and neighborhood commercial. And the reason for that is in the future they would like to have a down zone to RE2 because they currently, and they have been for the past almost 100 years, having cattle on the property or livestock on the property. And so they they have a grandfathered use in there, and they want to maintain that, and then hopefully in the future, I guess, have their zoning changed to RE2 to be have the livestock as a permitted use instead of just being grandfathered in. So,
Where's that at?
So right here is Highway 49. I'll zoom out a little bit. It'll be yeah. So it's pretty much right on the edge of the city border. Okay. Any other questions?
I have a question.
Yes.
In approving these changes, well, being that this is a comprehensive update of the general plan, we're dealing with transportation and all the things you talked about, and Darren's here. So when you're proposing these changes, which could have traffic impacts and those kinds of things, in a lot of cases it looks like they're small because there's not a lot of additional residences and potential vehicle trips and those kinds of things. But however, we're going to be doing an EIR. You said Rincon's going to be working on that. So are they going to consider each one of these potential splits to its furthest possible developable potential, and then make sure they're mitigating those impacts? Is that what's happening, or?
It will look at it from a kind of programmatic basis. What we'll do is once we get a draft final land use layer, we will use the U-plan to estimate the U-plan model to estimate where the growth is going to occur. We're looking at growth to about 63,000, so it's not a lot. Our general plan can accommodate far more than that. We are not looking to figure out how to mitigate the impacts of a full growth scenario for any one parcel or the whole county as a whole. It's not a build-out scenario. It's accommodating the expected growth. So if the U-plan model projects growth to a given parcel, that parcel will generate traffic. They'll show up in our traffic model, and then we will mitigate accordingly.
Is that more of a consideration for cumulative impacts then versus
Yes,
the site-specific
cumulative impacts,
impact?
exactly right.
That's what we're looking at, big
Yeah.
picture-wise then.
That's
Okay,
correct.
makes sense.
And just for whatever it's worth, we really need to minimize the number of different land use scenarios we look at, because we run the model to estimate the growth forecast, but then after that we do a needs assessment for over 100 different road segments and intersections. So each iteration is very costly, so we try and minimize those changes.
Okay.
Excuse me, we'll have public questions here at the end.
Okay.
So moving over to the Law and Justice Center area. So let me zoom back out. It'll be a little bit easier to see. So the Highway 108 is going through here. You have Old Wards Ferry Road coming right through here, and the Law and Justice Center located right here on those parcels. I'll turn on the existing to show. So the public is where the Law and Justice Center project is located. So through the blueprint project, it identified a number of areas to expand growth. Proposed a business park over here with some mixed use and low density residential and the medium density residential. The medium and low density originally was coming through here right in the middle of this proposed general commercial. But since then, the property owner, while we're going through that process, came forward and requested some general commercial in here, and then they also requested some estate residential, and then it was their own request to add this proposed recreation and park general plan designation for possibly a future park in the area. So I just want to briefly go over that area. If there's any questions, I'll be happy to answer them.
Can you just circle the 40 acres where the Law and Justice site is? Is that where the pink? Oh, it's just all white.
It's white, but
So that's
here
not
you go.
changing. It's already zoned public through.
Yes, all this is already public.
There was a general plan amendment when that was, the
There-
EIR was done for the Law and Justice Center.
Right.
What's
This,
that pink? Yeah, what's that pink strip right there?
So
that's
this
public
pink,
now?
it's actually, it's not letting me select it. So that pink is actually owned by the property owner that owns the surrounding property. So it was their proposal just to designate that public because that will become, that's the road.
Open space or?
It'll be the road.
Oh, that's the road.
Yeah, because the road runs right through here. So you can, it's a little bit hard to see, but yeah, there's Old Wards Ferry Road.
That's Old Wards Ferry Road?
Correct.
Okay.
So I'll move over to Twainhart. So a majority of the changes that you see here is per the direction that the parcels are not downzone. And to orient, over here's the highway, 108. And I'll zoom in a little bit better once I start talking about downtown of Twainhart, so you can see all the roads. But one area that I want to go, this is north of Twainhart. I'll turn on the existing journal plan after that.
Where's the golf course?
The golf course is right here.
Just for some context.
Right. So I want to go to this area because for these 6 parcels, we did receive one letter from a property owner requesting that we do not change this area from estate residential to low density residential. But the current zoning on these properties are RE1, and that's why we're proposing to go to low density residential instead of maintaining the estate residential for the RE2.
Same thing, making it consistent with zoning.
Correct. And so the property owner just basically requested that we don't propose that change for their property as well as the other properties along Manny Marshall Drive and Tom Marshall Drive. So, and then
What was your reason for that?
The reason is, although the properties with the RE1 zoning cannot be split now, if they have a zone change to R1, then they could potentially split in the future, and that they don't want to see additional density in that area along those 2 roads.
What's the alternative to not changing them?
It would be to change the existing zoning from RE1 to RE2, so it'll be a down zone.
And once again, not in conformance with
Correct.
the lot line or lot size.
Correct. And a couple of these 3 properties up here are already not in conformance with the RE1 because they're less than an acre in size. So going back to downtown Twainhart. So over here is the golf course. You have Twainhart Drive coming through, Joaquin Gully, and you have Fuller Road. And over here is the high school. Or the school. I'm sorry, the
Black
school.
Oak or?
Elementary school, I'm sorry.
Oh, okay.
And right here in the red, that's the post office.
Okay.
We're proposing to change it to general commercial because it's actually privately owned. They just rent it or lease it out to the post office.
Was it public before?
Yes.
Okay.
So through the Board of Supervisors Planning Committee, it was proposed to change several parcels throughout Twain Harte along Fuller, this intersection of right where the arches are, or the arch is located, and then these properties near along Twain Harte Drive, on either side of Twain Harte Drive, be changed to mixed use. And that was just, again, to expand the number of mixed-use properties throughout the county. So all those properties are currently zoned C1 and have a general plan of general commercial. So I just want to point those out.
And the public section, the purple piece right there is, what is that?
Over here?
No, that's. Yeah, turn it off.
Oh,
again.
over here, the proposed public?
Oh, is that? Yeah, which parcel is that?
Those properties were recently
right at the-
acquired by the Twain Harte Community Service District.
Okay.
So, so since it's owned
Is
by
that
the
next
C-
to where the little skate park's at?
Yes, that's
Right
correct.
adjacent to them? Okay, cool.
So I'll move over to Tuolumne. So most of these proposed changes here are based on the board's direction to not downzone the properties. I'll turn on the existing general plan. So you have Tuolumne Road here and Tuolumne Road North. You have Carter Street. And I'll zoom in a little bit on the proposed changes. So you have the Memorial Hall and the pool and library located over here. So the general commercial, the proposed general commercial, the red, is being proposed because currently that's neighborhood commercial, and we're just has the C1 zoning, so that's just being consistent. And then you have the medium density because those properties are currently zoned R2, and then the high density, those are already R3, so it's just matching the general plan with the
So
the
those would
zoning.
allow duplexes there?
Correct. They're currently already allowed.
Zoned for it?
Yes. And then the couple properties that you see that are proposed to go to public, those are owned by the Recreation District. So that helps. And then once again, through the Board of Supervisors Planning Committee, these several blocks were proposed to go to mixed use. Currently, they have the C1 zone and the neighborhood commercial general plan. And that was just, again, to expand the mixed use general plan designations throughout the county.
Can you turn on the other
Yes.
existing parcels?
So
So on the other side of Carter Street, I know there's some businesses there.
over here.
Yeah, like Blake Elliott, and are those allowed to be commercial at all? Neighborhood commercial or anything like that? Is that
So
where's
those-
Carter?
Carter is right here.
Okay, so the gray is neighborhood commercial.
These properties are already mixed use, and
Okay.
these are currently neighborhood commercial. I'll turn on back the proposed. So these blocks here, the outline blocks along
Are changing to
Chestnut
mixed use.
and Carter would be changed to mixed use.
Okay, that's good.
And then the inner blocks would be changed to general commercial.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
And we did receive a letter late yesterday. I provided all of you a copy of the letter. It's they are happy to see the proposed change for their property. They're located to the to the east of Tuolumne.
Oh,
So
this apple call? No.
So they own these properties. They're old mining claims. They're fine with the change. One thing that they asked for was the MPZ, which is the mineral preserve zone. They want the overlay on their properties because it's an old mining claim. However, those properties do not meet the criteria to be mineral preserve overlay because they're over a mile away from a collector road, and they don't meet the minimum parcel size. But the letter indicated that they want me to present to you, to your board, that they were requesting that change, and staff is not recommending that we go through with that change because they don't meet the criteria.
How far are they?
They're
And which roads are they accessing from?
so they're using a forest route road, and let's see, they're just over a mile away from the collector road.
How much?
Let's see.
Kind of hard.
So, yeah, about 1.25 miles.
So it's close.
Right. But they don't meet the minimum parcel size that we have in our standard in the general plan.
What is
And
that?
What is that?
The minimum parcel size is 37 acres, and their property, let's see, was 15 acres is their largest property.
So do they have current active mining that's
No, they do
grandfathered?
not.
They don't.
No, it's just a historic mining claim.
Okay.
And then with the MPZ overlay, the mineral preserve zone, if that was added, that kind of puts restrictions on the neighboring properties because it's a future mining site that could possibly go there.
Yeah.
So if there's no other questions, I'll move over to Big Oak Flat. So you have Highway 120.
I have a quick question. Sorry.
Go ahead.
Before we, all up North Tuolumne Road, are there any changes? Or up Tuolumne Road or Woodham Carnes out in?
So up here, the proposed changes, it's to be
There's changes, but we haven't got any comments from
Right.
constituents, right?
Right. These changes are just based on the existing zoning and
Yeah.
just having the general plan changed
Yeah.
so there's no down zoning.
Gotcha.
So you have Highway 120 running through here, and then you have Ward's Ferry Road coming up here to help give you an idea. So through the Blueprint project for the distinctive community scenario, that project proposed the high density and medium density residential in this area. And then through the Board of Supervisors Planning Committee, they expanded and proposed the mixed use general plans on either end on the proposed changes. And then the other changes that you see are based on the existing zoning in those properties. And I'll turn on the existing zoning to show you the difference. So currently there's a lot of low density residential, and pretty much all the changes are the low density residential general plan being changed to a higher intense use. So, and then I'll jump over to downtown Groveland. So here's 120 Main Street, Ferretti Road over here, the park, and the library museum is located over here. And you have Merrill Road coming through here. And then the Hetch Hetchy Railroad grade, you can judge by through here, and here's a Deer Flat Road. So most of these changes are based on the existing zoning. The only proposed change by the Board of Supervisors Planning Committee was the mixed use, and those properties are currently general commercial with the C1 zoning, and that's just expanding the existing mixed use to include those several smaller parcels.
Was there any concern about the hotel issue in that area?
I don't recall any in this area, but we did receive a number of phone calls. And then, once again, the only letter we received was in the Columbia area. And then we did receive a letter from this property owner. I'll just start off that we agree with the property owner. They currently have split general plan, but their zoning was R1, and through the computation when we're mailing off the letters, their zoning is R1, and so that was proposed to all go to low density residential. So we're going to remove that proposal for that property so that they can get rid of this proposed low density residential and maintain the general commercial there. And then I just want to jump to this area. You received recently by email from a property owner along Rosary Ridge Court. This is Big Hill Road, and here's Rosary Ridge Court. So I'll zoom out a little bit just to show you. The key reason that this property owner was stating is that this is in the middle of nowhere, basically, what they said in their letter. And the proposal was changing the general plan to low-density residential from estate residential. And the reason for that is because of the existing zoning on the properties. All the properties are zoned RE1. And so the change was to go to low-density residential. So basically, staff is asking, once again, your direction, if we should proceed with this type of change, or if we should do a down zone in this area along Big Hill Road from RE1 zoning to RE2 to be consistent with the existing estate residential general plan.
Does that make any of them non-conforming?
Yes, most of these properties are about an acre to an acre and a quarter in size.
And we would do that based on one request?
This area and then the next area, I'm bringing these up because they specifically requested that I bring these up because they were not going to be able to attend the meeting.
But it's one request out of how many potential owners?
Right, about a dozen or so properties. So,
I can't see downzoning, personally, 11 people because the 12th wants to be downzoned.
right.
I mean, if I knew the others wanted to do it, it'd be different, but that bothers me. I'm taking away somebody's...
Right, and we did not hear from the other property owners, so...
Okay, it's 2 minutes over my promise to Mr. Hanvelt that we were going to take a break in 1 hour.
I said when they got done.
Okay,
I'll-
change your mind. All right.
I'll just be a
We'll
couple more
continue.
minutes.
Okay.
I promise. The last parcel I want to go over is another letter that I passed out to your board. This property owner, it's this large property here. It's about 56 acres in size. The proposal is to change it from large lot residential, which is 10-acre parcels, to rural residential, and that's based on the A10 zoning district. So it's, again, once your board's direction to not downzone the property. This is in between Sugar Pine and Long Barn. And what they were requesting was to go from large lot residential, and instead of our proposal to rural residential because of the zoning, they want to go even one step further and go estate residential for 2-acre lots. And then in order for them to do that, it would be a little bit complicated to divide the property because of access. Correct. So just want to, and they specifically asked me to bring this up since it appeared that they would not be able to attend tonight's meeting either.
Okay. So you want to go ahead? Keep on going?
Okay. So just I just had one more slide, or actually 2 more, but so the circulation element is the last element I want to talk about, and state law has required the inclusion of this element since 1955, and it's the circulation element is not just transportation; it's the circulation of everything about people, water, communications, and so on. In 2008, there was an Assembly bill passed for the Complete Streets Act, which required us to implement revisions to our circulation element to fulfill the commitment to reduce greenhouse gas emissions statewide. So through this EIR process and our proposed changes, we will meet that requirement. And the last couple things that we changed in this element was regarding the appendix, and that was just the Tuolumne County's functional system of roadways and the road system's operation conditions. And the reason why we did that is to be consistent with the regional transportation plan and also federal standards, just that the roads match up and their criteria match up with each other. So that's all I had. And for the public, here's my contact information while we're on break that you can write down. And if you have any further questions that can't be answered tonight, I'll be happy to answer again.
Before we go and break, one request that I have is that you, so that I don't have to rely on my notes, you give us, the board, a list of all of those areas that you had specific questions on. That would be very helpful. I did get, and I didn't see it addressed in your presentation, a question about the Hay Press Meadow area. That would be up Sugar Pine, I believe, or further up, Leland, past Leland Meadows, some changes up in that area.
Oh, okay.
Maybe we could look at those when you come back. And can we go on break for about 10 minutes?
What information?
Okay, I want to talk a little bit. Could we please be seated? Talk a little bit about process. I want to ask staff if Darren, do you want to continue with this, or do we want to take some questions on what Adam's presentation, then go to yours? What would be the preference?
I could really do it either way. If you'd like, I can do my presentation. It's relatively short, probably 5 to 10 minutes at most. That way, as people come up tonight, they can think about land use issues as well as transportation and give input on both fronts.
Okay, I want to have Adam look at a couple things on the map for us that the questions came up during the break. One is the one I mentioned about the Hay Press Meadow area, and the other one is Mammoth Mine Road area, where we have designated some park and rec on a piece of property. Could we look at those on the map? And that way, if the owners of those properties are here and have questions later, they can ask them.
And the Mammoth Mine Road, if you can, was that over in
Jamestown, Jacksonville Road area? You don't know where Mammoth Mine
I do not know where Mammoth Road is. I apologize.
How long have you been in Tuolumne County?
Not long enough, I guess.
Yes. He'll find it.
Is it further south?
I think it's further south.
Is it further south?
It's before the bridge.
Oh, okay. Okay. Sorry about that. So the question was regarding these parcels down here and the proposed recreation and park?
Yeah, why? The question is, why are we proposing that state parks and recreation? And the present zoning is what?
The present zoning on this parcel for parks or recreation and park is K, so that's recreation.
So it's already zoned recreation.
Correct.
And that was done in,
That was the K zone on that property for the recreation zone was done in 1985.
1985. Okay. And the reasoning to go to proposed recreation and park?
That's just to be consistent or to match the K zoning.
Okay.
So that both the zoning and the general plan are consistent.
Okay, so the person that asked that question can get up during public comment and ask some more. The other one was the Hay Press Meadow area.
And that was
That's up
by Leland Meadows?
Eagle Meadows.
Eagle Meadows. Okay, I thought.
Go to Longbar and then work your way up.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm going to have to work my way up.
Rear window out.
Do you have the whole county? Might be easier.
Just go through the whole county.
Yeah, because this is almost buried in there. Yeah, way up in there, way up past Pinecrest.
Is that the right area?
That's Pinecrest there.
That
So
is
you gotta keep on
Pinecrest.
going.
Yeah, it's way east of there. Probably another 20 miles.
Almost out of Tuolumne County.
Close now, then. Probably close, John.
Is that because these are the proposed changes up here? There's
That's the area, I'm
okay.
pretty sure.
Okay.
So that's
Was it-
existing zoning we're seeing right there?
Yeah, I'll get rid of the proposed so you can see. There's the existing zoning. This is all public surrounding it, and then the proposed change is just basically the large lot residential and these parcels being changed to rural residential. Large lot is 10 acres. Rural residential will be the 5 acres.
So, and that's what's up there, the 5-acre parcel, so we're making it consistent to which is
Correct.
actually there.
They're all 5-acre parcels, and the zoning is RE5.
Okay. All right. Thank you. So, how much more do you have? You're pretty much done?
I'm done. Just any questions?
Okay. Any questions from the board? I think what we'll do is we'll let Darren go ahead and do his presentation, and then when you come up to the podium, we want to try to keep it at 3 minutes. I don't know if everybody in the room is going to speak or not, but if we keep it at 3 minutes, we'll get out of here before midnight, I hope. And Adam,
Yeah, I can.
Adam, I want to thank you. A good presentation, and as you can see, his name's up there. He's the go-to guy on this. Call him and then call us, okay? Because we're going to have to call him for the help. So anyway, as you can see, he's very approachable, and he can answer your questions quicker than your supervisor can at this time. Okay, Darren, want to go ahead?
Certainly. Thank you very much for the opportunity to talk about the Regional Transportation Plan update tonight. The Regional Transportation Plan is being updated in partnership with the county. It's the lead agency for the Regional Transportation Plan update is the Tuolumne County Transportation Council. The Regional Transportation Plan will be done by the Transportation Council. It's a designated regional transportation planning agency for Tuolumne County by the state of California. It's comprised of 2 city council members, Councilman Bill Canning, Councilman Ron Stern, 2 Board of Supervisors members, yourself, John, as well as board member Evan Royce. And then we have 1 citizen at large assisting us, Mike Ayala. He's our chairman. Under that effort, we have a Social Service Transportation Advisory Council giving input on transit matters. We have a Technical Advisory Committee representing city and county staff, as well as a Citizen Advisory Committee members, which, of course, you appoint members to. And they all give input to the regional transportation planning process. What is a regional transportation plan? Regional transportation plan serves as a blueprint to guide future transportation investments for the county, involving local, state, and federal funding over the next 20 years. We've been digging through county budgets, city budgets, Caltrans budgets, as well as our own budgets, to look at what revenues we received over the last 5 to 10 years and then projected forward from those amounts. Consistent with local agency circulation elements and plans, capital improvement programs, Caltrans system management plans, we use those documents to upload into our regional transportation plan your goals and objectives through your stated plans. The RTP determines priorities for new transportation and capital improvement projects. The RTP covers multiple modes of transportation. We have an aviation element. We look at rail, working with Sierra Railroad folks, as well as perhaps some users of the railroad. We have a highway element. We work with Caltrans to do a needs assessment. We look closely at their transportation concept reports, system management plans. We also looked at the SHOP, and the SHOP is a state highway operations protection program. It has a lot of safety projects as well as operational improvement projects in it. It's a major funding source that Caltrans has expressed interest in coordinating with us on the next regional transportation plan. And certainly our state transportation improvement program is another major program that looks to the RTP for guidance. It's the program that funds projects like East Sonora Bypass. And then finally, as Adam mentioned, complete streets are a requirement of the general plan. We are working with Caltrans on state highways that are main streets through our smaller communities and addressing some of those main street type issues. We're going to do a local streets and roads assessment using your pavement management system. We will be consistent with the circulation element. We will be presently we're doing an existing deficiencies analysis. We've got traffic counts on 100 different road segments and intersections, which will allow us to identify what are the existing deficiencies in your system and the need improvements before we even start looking at future needs. We'll also be looking at safe routes to school, looking at community plans as to what the community expects in each of their areas. We have a public transportation element, a regional transportation element, a financial element, and expenditure plan. The regional transportation plan's main objective is to prioritize funding. We looked at 41 different funding programs, state, federal, local, regional, and transit funds. We've estimated just out of regular funding sources over $107 million over the next 10 years. They'll go towards various road and transportation improvements. And over 20 years, $300 million. And that's not including discretionary grants, which the RTP will provide a list of candidate projects for discretionary grants as well and help prioritize those. At the end of the process, we'll have a expenditure plan that will guide us towards those investments. The last RTP was updated in 2008. We look out 25 years, and as we do that, we look to the county's land use element to put into the regional traffic model so that we can project how much traffic will be on each of the roadways and do any kind of deficiencies analysis and then propose needed improvements and, if appropriate, estimate the cost of those improvements. At the end of the day, we will have a list of road improvement projects, hopefully prioritized with an estimated cost of each of those improvements so that as we look to program that $107 million in the next 10 years, we're putting them to the most needy and most important projects consistent with our regional transportation plan guidelines and STIP guidelines. Finally, I'd like to say that the draft RTP is anticipated in the next few months. We're about 75% complete. We're looking for a kind of a draft final land use layer from the county to put into our traffic model to do those needs assessments for the future, and that'll allow us to wrap up our draft regional transportation plan, which I look to have done later this spring and present to the public. The reason why I'm here tonight is to seek input. As we look to wrapping up the draft plan, we want to make sure that we're considering all the needs that the public could identify. Certainly there will be more opportunities for public input as we have meetings in Groveland, Jamestown, and of course with this board, city council and whatnot. But in the meantime, if people have input, we'd like to hear it tonight, or you can email me at this address any concerns you might have, and they'll certainly be considered in the draft plan.
Thank you. Any questions from the board right now?
Hey, Darren, you got a typo in your email address. It's .ca.us.
Yep.
Nice try.
That's
That was smooth. That was smooth.
If we didn't have a good, competent legal counsel, you would have got away with that. You know that? Okay. So now we're going to have public input, public comment. All you have to do is come up to the podium, and we'll give you 3 minutes. You can ask questions now, but as you can see, we are giving you some good contact information if you think about something later. The whole purpose of these meetings is we want to know what you feel about what we're doing, so don't be bashful. So who would like to come up and ask questions and speak? Just go ahead and line up on the wall. Nobody will shoot you, I promise. And we'll just go through in order.
Good evening. My name is Kenneth Giddings. I own the 40-acre piece of ag land that is bound by Red Tail, Quail Hollow, Lions Ball Mountain right now. I'd just like to at least, here's an email from the planning department. I will remove your property from the proposed change, but it wasn't done. The change was up, the proposed change is up there. They would like to change it from ag, and we just don't have enough ag land to begin with, to RE, which would mean 2-acre parcels available. In the last 2 years, we have taken the road, a road we have on the property, and improved it for the fire requirements. We put in an 800-foot well. We just finished that. We put in we just finished, in fact, it's not even final, the 3,000 square foot processing shop for a winery that we're already, that's going to be in production by we're planting it this spring, and we already have everything in there. Well, under the new proposal, we wouldn't be able to do that. And so, I mean, we have a lot of money invested. My daughter also does live on the property. She raises exotic birds and actually sells fine jewelry out of exotic bird feathers. And she's been doing this for probably 15 years. And she'll have up to 100 birds on the property. Now, all of a sudden, they want to change that. And so we're asking that you leave it as ag. There are a couple of things about the surrounding properties that might help. Red Tail is going to be above us, if you want, kind of looking down.
We're looking at it on the map right now.
Yeah, Red Tail. But right through here, this part right here, there are 60 acres of open space, so that gives us a nice buffer here. There won't be anything here. This, Quail Hollow's already in there. Nothing's going to change at this point right here. All of these neighbors, I can tell you right now, we know them all along here, and every one of them just love having open land behind them, not 2-acre pieces. Nothing can happen up this way because this is Sonora Creek, and just won't work. The only thing would be this across here, and this they're asking, turn that into quarter-acre lots, possible. So I just ask you that you would just keep it ag as it is, because it really is a piece of ag land.
Okay, I think we understand your position, and Thank you for
Thank
the
you.
3 minutes.
My name is Nan Fuller, and I'd like to talk about the famous Mammoth Mine Road property that we looked at before. And I think there was some confusion on the zoning because I guess the current zoning is K, but under the general plan designation, the general plan had it as large lot residential. So the paper we got said large lot residential, changing to Parks and Rec. So we'd like to keep it as large lot residential, or as they're changing all the other ones into the estate designation, because all of the land around there is residential property, and it's all being changed over to estate residential. And we have plans to split it into 4 pieces and give it to each of our 4 children, so that would be where they'd build their homes, which if it goes to Parks and Rec,
Okay.
we couldn't do that. And there's no improved roads going in there. It's all dirt roads, and there's no improvements at all, water, sewer, anything in there. So it doesn't make sense to have it be Parks and Rec.
Okay.
So you would prefer to have the zoning changed to reflect the general plan as opposed to the general plan changed to reflect the zoning?
Exactly.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Are you Claude Fuller's daughter by any chance?
Yes, I am.
Okay. I used to play baseball with him a long time ago.
Did he pitch to you?
Absolutely. Couldn't hit him either.
Good evening, John Buckley representing CSERC, and I'll keep to the 3 minutes here. Just in response to the presentations, the reality is with all the different elements that Adam went over and all the different changes that are being put forward, it's going to be really hard for most members of the public to understand the complexity of what's really being put forward. And I'm just going to pick on one minor thing is Adam had up here that the wildlife handbook is removed. What many people may not realize is what that means is the wildlife policies that most developers chose to use for the last 25 years have now been eliminated, and that's not even an option anymore under the new plan. So the changes referred to briefly, for example, by Adam for oaks, include significant weakening of oak protection measures, including one option that actually allows the board to decide that wiping out oak woodland on a project site isn't a significant impact at all if a single consultant or forester agrees with the applicant that it's not an impact. That's wording that you now have. So those are the kinds of things that those who may be concerned about rural character or senior protection may want to really look at that natural resource section, and not with a manner of I'm opposed to or I'm supportive, but where can there be wording changes that may find some middle ground that accomplish what we're trying to do, which is to make sure that development can take place, especially into defined communities with incentives, but without necessarily losing the values that most people feel are part of that overall balance. The last thing I'd refer to is one of the biggest changes in proposals out of all those meetings I set up, the BOSBC, the Berg, the Brock, all these other committees, is that for certain agricultural lands or large parcels, they will now be allowed to hold major commercial events on many weekends throughout the year, some of them, and in the midst of ag land or residential lots at a far more significant level than anything that's happened up to this point. And for some people, that can completely change their quality of life if for 16 weekends out of the year, right across on the ridge across from them, there's these things. So I just encourage people to look and then suggest alternative language if you think that there's something that can make a difference for the issue you're concerned about. Because as I heard Randy talking at the break is, this could be in place for the next 25 years. This is your chance to get in suggestions for alternatives. So thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else?
Hello, my name is Diane Harrington. I own 2 properties, a home and a rental on Sawmill Flat Road, which is between Columbia and Sonora. The village of, I should say. And I apologize. I arrived here an hour late. I misunderstood the time and unfortunately missed a lot of information. So I'm hoping that you haven't covered this information yet. My concern is Oh, yeah, across from Sousa Lane. I have a home across there. That's 2.5 acres. And from what I saw on your map online, your low residential is going to go up that whole side, the opposite side of the street, all quite a ways up on Sawmill Flat Road. So my question is, you're taking these at least mine is a 1 acre parcel, and if it's going to be made into 6 parcels, then the question is, do I still own that land, and how can I use that land? If it's first of all, most of that land is uphill, and it cannot be built on because there's residentials above it, and there's a gold mine right in the middle of it. So then, and I too have put money into correcting the water filtering, which is an ongoing process. The house needs foundation work. It has to be lifted up. A lot of money needs to go into it. So this is my income, and it's an investment. I'm not that far away from retirement, hard to believe. The other home, I wonder about what's that going to do to the property value of my 2.5 acres, my lovely home that I'm planning to retire on. Another tweaker home that I'm putting money in to fix up to make it into my home. So how can we have confidence? We buy property, put our whole life savings, and in my case, it's my 3rd time around rebuilding my financial life, courtesy of my government. And so where do you have the confidence that you're going to invest this money and I need it to work for me? I don't have a retirement. I'm rebuilding my retirement. So these are my concerns, and I apologize again if some of these answers have already been talked about.
Okay, Adam, could you address how the changes would affect that piece of property that she owns?
So currently, these properties are zone RE3, and the general plan designation is homestead residential. So the zone is already consistent with the general plan designation. The proposal to go to low-density residential is because these parcels are less than 3 acres in size. A majority of these parcels are. I'll just, on the map here, I'll turn on the existing general plan. And so this is so there's the existing and then with the proposed. And so with these changes, the compatible zoning with that general plan designation will be either RE1 or R1. The existing zone that's on there now, the RE3, that would also be considered compatible because it's a less intense use than the low-density residential. So it would, if we were to do county initiated zone changes, we wouldn't change these areas because they'll be already considered consistent with the RE3 zoning. It will be up to the property owners if they want to do a zone change on their property to a more intense, either RE1, which would be for the 1 acre lots, or the R1, which is the single family residential lots, which is the 6 dwelling units per acre.
So essentially it won't have any effect unless the property owner wishes to do the zoning themselves.
Correct, and that will go through, it'll be an application and it'll be a public hearing. And then if a property owner does that, it will be a notification to the neighbors that they are pursuing a zone change, and then depending on the lot size, if they're doing a subdivision or a parcel map.
And they could do that now.
Right now, if they want to do it, they would also have to do the zone change on the parcel map as well as a general plan amendment.
Okay.
So this just eliminates the general plan amendment part of it.
Well, what's confusing to me is that it is designated on your map that's on the website, and sorry, I forgot the other part. Yeah.
Okay. If you have more questions,
Yeah.
just
It's still
get
hard
with
to
them.
interpret. Like,
It's hard to understand.
Is there a value to becoming 6 parcels?
Okay. You can do a follow-up. Yes, sir. Please come forward.
Yes, we have 20 acres over on the end of Lime Kiln Road, right before you get to Algerine. And it's a little over 20 acres. We want to downsize as we get older and sell the one parcel, split it in 2/10, which is consistent with that neighborhood there. I think Cisco May was the one who split that up years ago. But we'd like to make a partial split so we could build a more compatible home for us as we get older on the other piece and sell the other one.
Okay, Adam, does that, what we're proposing there, does that allow what the gentleman is asking?
Pardon me?
I asked the question to staff, and he's going to,
I'm
I
sorry,
asked
what-
your question to him.
You want the parcel
Do you
number?
if you have the parcel number, that would be
Okay.
Because I forget what.
It's 096220003.
Zero 22003.
22003.
Okay, so you're right at the corner. So that's looks correct.
That's right there.
Okay. So currently it is agricultural. The proposal to go to rural residential, and the existing zone is A10. So, and like he said, the parcel is 20 acres, and I apologize. Can you repeat your particular question?
Yes, I would like to split the 20 acres into 2/10.
Okay. So then with this proposed rural residential change, that would allow that. It would make it an easier process. You would still have to apply for the parcel map portion of it in order to divide the property.
Okay, that's great. Thank you.
Okay.
Thank you. Happy customer.
A satisfied customer, yeah. Gotta like that.
Yeah.
Hello, my name's John Moyle. We have several pieces of property in the county, but I'm a little bit confused right now because I guess I should have taken care of it a while back. We got a letter from the planning department, but I don't know where it is.
Okay.
So anyway, I saw in the paper tonight, we always get the paper a day late. Anyway, it said there's there's 2 planning workshops next week. That's what it said. It said next week. So my wife, I thought, well, I'm going to get into the planning department and find out what the heck's going on because I don't know what's happening to our property. But anyway, my wife, she's the smart one. She called the supervisors. And what did they tell you? Tell her the meeting's tonight. So I'm here and I don't know what the heck's going on. So I hope we're going to have time to look into this a little bit as far as we're concerned. I hope what you're doing isn't all cut and dried.
Right.
It's a long ways to go. These are the starting points. And could you explain the other meetings that were noticed?
So the newspaper, unfortunately, was published this week, and they made the mistake of stating that the meetings are next week. They did not specify the exact dates of the meeting.
I'm going to get in.
So the other meeting will be in Groveland at the Groveland Community Hall on Friday, this Friday, February 6th, and that meeting will be held at 10 a.m. in that location. I would recommend if you could either come to our planning department this week, if that's possible, or soon, and then I'll be able to go over with your parcels. I'll be able to find those letters, and I can reprint them for you.
Because things just seem to happen to you, you know?
Okay.
You got to watch it.
All right, thank you.
Hello, my name is Ron Pickup. I live in rural Soulsbyville and a longtime Soulsbyville resident. My wife Pamela and I live on a small apple ranch that we've owned since 1946, my family has. I was born and raised in the county and have lived most of my adult life here. I have seen many changes in the county over these many years, some good, some not so good. As I expressed to the board during the transportation blueprint scoping session some time ago, I feel we need to be very careful in our planning for the county's future to create a more sustainable form of growth and to not lose sight of our county's largest source of income, tourism. The latest figure for that income is about $200 million per year. And that's according to the Visitors Bureau. I just talked to them today. I think we need to be very careful to not overzone our beautiful rural, historic agriculture environments that create our tourism. We need to maintain our contiguous zoning for agriculture and open space concerns for wildlife. And we do also need to maintain our zoning that respects the cultural integrity of our historic towns and continue to provide for separate identities between existing communities such as historic Soulsbyville, rural Soulsbyville, and Willow Springs. I thank you for this opportunity to express my concerns.
Thank you.
One other question. In order to see the zoning designations proposed for the different communities, do we have to go on the internet to see those, or are we? I was involved in the general plan update in the 90s, and we had maps all over the walls to let people see what was being proposed. Is that going to happen during the scoping EIR? Or?
We can probably put up maps. We can reach more people by using the internet, but as we go through the process, I'm sure we'll have some maps on the wall. We usually do.
That'll happen during the EIR scoping input?
Process, Adam or Bev?
Yeah, as you mentioned, yes, currently it's on the website. You can access it through the Tuolumne County website. And then you can also come to our planning office at the Community Resources Agency, and then we can provide additional maps. Because during this general plan, a lot of these changes are spread out through the county, so it's hard to reproduce the maps throughout to show all the changes. Because it's as you've seen up over in Eagle Meadows, it's really drastic all the way from one end of the county border to the other. But we can, in the future, have the printed maps of the key communities like Columbia, Jamestown. Those won't be a problem to reproduce. But once you get really site-specific, like on the map here, up in if you go up north of Mona Way and Highway 108, as you can see, there's only one parcel or a couple parcels up here, so that's why we thought it would be a little bit inappropriate to have maps for the entire county.
Save money, save paper.
Makes sense. But it would be available in hard copy if you wish it.
Right. Okay. If you're
yeah, we're not going to deny it.
If you want,
I want to see the proposed zoning change for Soulsbyville in general, I could come in and
yes, and we can print out. Yes, okay. If there's a very specific area that you're interested in, we can print out those maps.
Okay. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Next.
I'm a little concerned but confused about something. I agree with the gentleman before us that just spoke. You have a beautiful county here. It's God's country, but you are destroying it with all the subdivisions you're putting in. And if I overheard right at the beginning, sorry, I'm nervous, there's been a 10,000 population drop here in the county, if I understood that right. No? Well, my thought is instead of tearing more and more of the community apart with the trees and taking out the wildlife and building more, why don't you utilize what is already done, and then when the need arises, then move on with the county? And the other thing is, where are we getting the water from?
Okay. For clarification, we're not proposing any projects at this time. All we're doing is looking at a plan for the future should they occur.
So none of this, all the subdivisions that...
They're already existing. Everything that we're showing on this map is already here.
What about the ones that are yet to propose?
I don't have a crystal ball.
So, is there going to be plenty of water in the county for more building?
I can't answer that question, but I think that's something that through the EIR we will have an answer to and ways to mitigate it if it is needed. Is that an
That's
okay
correct.
answer? All right.
And I would add, in the long term, we are trying to look at water as a resource that has to be addressed, and our supply is something that's critical to our future, and that's why we are adding a water element to the general plan.
So,
And that's also available for you to review and look at, and I think there will probably be lots of additional opportunities for that as well.
Correct.
okay.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah.
Next.
Hi, my name's Mark Hopkins. I live up on Yankee Hill. It's pretty rural on top of the hill there. I've just got a couple of questions or points here to bring up. I noticed on your on the screen here a while back you were addressing air quality. Are you going to have any restrictions on wood stoves?
I hope not.
I hope not too.
Better not.
Okay, that's a good point. Go ahead.
We got a lot of wildfires in our county.
Oh, no kidding.
That's the biggest
That's our
contributor.
biggest concern on the hill.
Yep. And that's the biggest contributor to air quality problems. So I'm out of order. I'm gonna
Yes,
That and secondary smoke from the valley.
Those are the issues that the EIR will also address, the air quality when it's reviewed, and we'll have suggestions and answers
Okay.
to that.
And vehicle emissions?
Same.
Okay, so that's down the road ways. Okay, all right. I've got a 14-acre parcel, and it's a let's see. Right now, it is large lot residential, and you're going to propose it to rural residential. How does that affect me?
Adam, can you clarify the differences between us and maybe go specifically to the property?
And do you have your assessor's parcel number on that
Yeah.
sheet? Okay.
Let's see. We are, let's see, parcel A. Why, can I just give you the address?
Okay. You said it was on
On
Yankee Hill?
Road, up the top, 13373. Looks like, I can read this thing. Yeah.
It's on your letter.
Oh, it's on the letter, okay.
84,118.
Okay, thank you. Can't find me?
So it's on the map.
Oh, okay.
Okay. So it's right here.
Yeah. Mhm.
The current zoning is A10.
Yes.
And we were proposing to change the general plan from large lot residential to rural residential, and that was to be the reason is because of the A10 zoning district. The A10 zone district will be consistent with the rural residential with that type of change. So it would
Not
remain
going to be that
consistent.
big a deal, right?
Right. Because with the large lot residential, what would be compatible with that is basically the A20 zoning district, so that's a 20-acre parcel.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's some of those up there.
Right.
Okay.
So it's
All right.
not really going to affect
All right.
your particular
That's all I
property.
have. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else? Boy, what a great crowd. All right, if there's no other public comment, bring it back to the board. Supervisor Rutherford, did you have a comment?
Well, I think it's pretty consistent with what our direction's been in the past. We don't want to rezone somebody to be more restrictive than they currently are, obviously. But we do need to get our general plan and our zoning consistent. In my view, as a general principle to guide staff, I would recommend that we do everything we can to be consistent with the concerns of the people of Tuolumne County. So if we have an opportunity to rezone something to conform with the general plan, if that's the direction they want to go, I tend to support that, unless there's good reason not to. If we would change the general plan to conform with the zoning because that's what the lot owner would want, I tend to go with that. So the issue is going to be obviously when you have conflicts between lot owners where one person wants to go one way and the other person wants to go the other way. So, but that's I guess why they pay us the small bucks. But anyway, that would be my guidance.
Okay. Supervisor Hanvelt.
Yeah, just for everybody's benefit, could you put your schedule back up there? You had a chart early on that had schedule on it. Draft general plan update. Isn't that where we are today?
Yes, we're at
so
the beginning stages.
On that schedule, we're December 2014. I just want, we want to be very cautious about doing this right, and we can't do it right without your help. So I want to say thank you for being here. Thank you for the comments, and I agree with what Supervisor Rodefer said. You know, we don't want to restrict people's ability to do things. On the other hand, we want to look after and be the best stewards of the land in our county. We like the historic nature of our county, the traditional things of our county, the wonderful things why we all live here. We want to preserve and protect those. We also want to preserve and protect your property rights. So we want to be cautious about this, so we do it. So please, I'm going to ask you all, please, if you have lingering questions, new questions come up, something's fermenting in your mind, give Adam a call. And, well, he said he's really approachable. I think that's what Supervisor Gray said. And he'll help you through this stuff. It's complicated, and sometimes it's confusing. And I call him all the time and ask him questions about this very same thing. And I think I'm closer to it than most of you, but I got to tell you, it's very confusing. And everyone is a little bit different, so call him. Get your questions answered. Let's step through this. Help us with your comments. It's important. This is your county.
Supervisor Brennan.
Thank you.
I'm sorry, I didn't want to cut you off, but I did.
No, and mine is along the same lines as Randy's. Follow-up, I heard a couple incidences, comments where folks were ag and didn't want to be rezoned. And so I'm asking you to follow up with Adam and see if we can get some of those resolved.
Okay. Anybody else?
That's a quick one.
Go ahead.
Yeah. Well, we spent a lot of time tonight looking at the individual implications for a lot of property owners, and that's really important. We want to make sure we take the time to look at all the individual concerns that there are and address them. But even beyond that, something that we didn't spend a ton of time on is the policy implications to the general plan. And if you look at this thing, I mean, there was 3 sections that were hundreds of pages each. I don't know how many pages total this thing is, but yeah, it's a stack of paper like that. And I didn't read every word of it, but I scanned every single page and
729 pages.
A lot of it. And it's a pain in the butt to do that, but it's really important. And there's important stuff in here that is going to affect Tuolumne County for a long time. And as you saw, there's a lot of different elements that affect different aspects to what we're doing in this county and what creates, you know, the lifestyle that we have here. And so I just don't want that to be lost in all of the you know, the individual concerns we've had. This is all available online as well, correct?
That's correct.
And each one of these has a different heading. So if you're interested in biological resources, or if you're interested in historical preservation, or water, there's a lot of work that has been done in committee processes already to get to this point, to draft documents that address all of those types of issues. So I really encourage people to, if you're interested and you're going to talk about it and you want to know more, dig into this or ask us for help, and we'll help you have access to that.
Okay, I didn't want to leave out Darren. Thank you, Darren, for the presentation. You have more to say?
No.
Actually,
Okay.
just
Yeah.
quick.
I
I
see
also
the
wanted
hand
to
going up, down. I just
wanted to compliment our staff as well. I think you handled the meeting very well tonight, and this is difficult when you're dealing with people's property. But I think that you understand how sensitive that can be, and we want to be sensitive to people's needs. And so I appreciate that, and I know you've worked hard on this. So good job.
Thank you.
Okay, just a final word. I guess Mr. Rutherford once again.
This is probably the most important thing this county government will do in the next, it's going to be with us for 25 years, whatever we come up with, 25 years. So I go back to what John Buckley said. Honestly, first of all, thanks to the public for everybody taking the time to come out here and share your thoughts with us. But this is important, and it's not just the impacts on your individual lot, it's the impacts on the entire county. And so I just echo what Evan said, and help us out here. This board wants to get it right, and we need your help to do that.
Yeah, and ending, again, thanks staff, but I also want to thank all of you that have come tonight. This is probably one of the most calmest evening meetings that I've ever attended, and I'm very thankful for that, because being chairman and having to go through some that are contentious is very difficult. But echoing what the rest of the board members said, this is something that we're going to be tied to for a long time. Please give your input. We don't have all the answers, and we're here to